Hey, Cowboys Nation, welcome back. My name is Rika. This is my show. I'm really bad at hosting it. Tonight, my special guest from Ed and Eddie Silver and Blue is father and son duo, Ed and Eddie. The crowds love them. And as always, the only man in Cowboys Nation to ever successfully sodomize a Denver Broncos jersey, Charley Moffitt. Hi, Charley.
What's up, y'all?
Hey guys, do us a favor. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you hate Charley, hit the dislike. It's okay. We understand. We hate him too. And while you're here, please subscribe, ring that notification bell so you can get notified every single time I go live.
It was a teenage wedding and the old folks wished them well. You could see that Pierre did truly love the mademoiselle.
All right, kids, before we get started, we got to take care of a little bit of business. Hey, listen up. TwistedGorilla.com has the best t-shirts online. They've got funny t-shirts, sarcastic t-shirts, but most importantly, y'all, they've got Cowboys t-shirts, and every t-shirt is Gorilla approved. So head to TwistedGorilla.com. Let them know that you're a fan of the Cowboys, that you're a fan of Rika, and that you're a fan of Ed and Eddie. And save 15% at checkout when you use coupon code RIKA15. That website and that coupon code are in the ticker right down there. And stay tuned later in the show. We're going to tell you about a giveaway we're doing where you have an opportunity to win some Twisted Gorilla gear for free. So, all right, guys, how we feeling? Not so good, right? Kind of a bad week.
Rough Sunday, but it
Yeah.
stopped at the end of Sunday. Come Monday, I was fine.
Yeah. Charley had himself a little nutty here on the channel yesterday, tired of Cowboys Nation and their overreaction and their craziness. Sometimes you just have to you have to find your space, you have to let it out.
Yeah, shut the fuck up.
And shut the fuck up, exactly. You know what? That's before we even get into this, before we even start this, we're going to take 16 and a half seconds to just sit in silence and calm down about it. And if you're wondering why 16 and a half seconds, well, that's because any more than 16 and a half seconds and I get dinged for copyright infringement.
Because he had a bad day, you're taking one down. You sing a sad song just to turn it around. You say you don't know, you tell me don't lie. You work on a smile and you go for a ride. You had a bad day.
See, just had a bad day. It's no big deal. All right, DeLunatic. Got DeLunatic in the chat. And he says, what jerseys are Ed and Eddie rocking tonight? What do you guys got on?
Looks like Amari Cooper. The Big E, Ezekiel Elliott. But it's really Miles Austin, but just don't tell anybody.
You know what? I have two of those that were Miles Austin that I repatched on the back.
Oh, that's
yeah.
There's it all the way, huh?
Yeah, well, there's websites, and you just go and you pick the color scheme that you want, and it'll go by team, and then you can tell them, if you wanted navy or white or different colors, and then and they'll just send it out to you in the patch, and then I just ripped off the old one, sewed on the new one. New Jersey.
Okay. Yeah, I got a few I can do that with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was. I think they were, I don't know, $13, $12, something like that. They weren't expensive.
Make sure you message me that, please. That's great.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find it. All right. Lunatic says Miles Austin. I can roll with that. Okay. Yeah, Sunday. It was just a bad secret. It was a bad secret. Sorry to Lunatic. It was just a bad Sunday. It was bad all the way around. It was bad on offense. It was bad on defense. Dak had a bad day. The receivers had a bad day. And I think, I don't know. What do you guys think?
Just that every single element of the game, the team was just in a funk. I mean, and it's so weird, too, because it had a great kick return, and you're like, all right, here we go. And I know I could imagine being in the stadium. I don't know if you guys were there, But imagine getting all excited on that kick return, and then it all went to shit in real short order.
Right.
Yeah, I was just saying that it kind of just was that trap game I kind of expected to happen around this time, whether it would have been the Patriots, whether it would have been, the Vikings with Cooper Rush, whether it had been this week. I was kind of expecting a weird trap game where things didn't quite go our way one of these few weeks, and this just so happened to be it. It happens.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. As fans, we get wrapped up in the W's, and we don't look that close sometimes. And we had some close games. It could have easily just been losses themselves. So I think everybody was riding high on a little more false confidence than it was really worthy of. And it all came crashing down at once. And credit to the Broncos, too. My goodness, they just brought it.
Yeah, I mean, they absolutely did. And these games, they're just going to happen every once in a while. I would rather it happen right now than in a game that is really going to matter, in a game that's a divisional game, or even worse, in a playoff game. I think every time you take a loss in life, you learn something about yourself. I mean, this is a really young team. Taking a loss this hard for a good majority of this team, they haven't done that yet in the NFL. Right. They haven't had a nasty one like this. So it needed to happen. See, 41 minutes of time of possession was a meaningful stat in this particular game. Yes, DJ Dog.
Right on, DJ Dog.
Correct.
Yes. So can somebody explain to me what is the deal with Denver and Arizona? Those two teams, for whatever reason, bring it on a level that every other Cowboy opponent doesn't seem to match. It's bizarre. But you look at the last 5-7 games of both of those teams, and most of those have just been through the roof crazy.
Yeah.
I think it's coincidence, because if you look at them last 5 or 7 games, it's different coaching staffs for us, different players for us, different coaching staffs for them, and different players for them. It's like everything's been changed. Like when people go back 5 games, so much shit's changed in the past 5 games, especially when it's not a division rival. You don't play them every year. So yeah, that's more of a coincidence thing than anything. But yeah, no, it was a bad game. There wasn't there wasn't nothing good about it. Dak was bad. CD was bad. Coop was bad. Zeke Elliott was hurt and average. Pollard was bad. O-line was bad. Coaching was bad. Defense was bad. I mean, hell, the only thing that might have been a little bit of a good thing was our special teams. But, other than that, it was just fucking bad, dude. I just write it off as like, hey, if anybody expects us to play that bad again, I don't. And like I said on the video yesterday, that game does nothing to change any of my priors about this team. My priors are set on the 7 games that we played before that. Even the loss that we played against the Bucs, that's part of my positive priors. So I'm not going to let one game against an average team where we got fucking mule kicked, change anything how I feel about this team. Yeah, it just I don't know. I just don't ride the high waves, and I don't ride the low waves either. I just try to stay in the middle. I don't try to let too much of the shit bother me too much.
Right.
So I talked last week on this show. We talked a little bit. Tampa Bay had the bye. They were at 6-2 when they went into their bye week. Packers were 7-1. Rams 7-1. Cardinals 7-1. The Rams and the Packers both fell this week. So the only team that kind of gained on us as a result of this loss is the Cardinals, and they're now at 8-1. But we're back tied with Tampa Bay, and really with the Packers and Rams. I mean, they have one more win that they just haven't had their bye weeks yet. So we're still not in a bad position as far as seeding goes. We're still not in a bad position as far as the division goes. So you
I had the distinctive pleasure of what's that?
Sorry, I was going to say, so you shake it off and you move on. But yeah, you were at that San Francisco game. Tell us about it.
I had the distinctive pleasure of watching those Cardinals in action. And
I forgot about that.
What's that?
Yeah,
I forgot you was at that game. I forgot.
Yeah,
it
was cool. It was fun. It was. I mean, if you have to see the Niners, at least you get to see them lose, so that's all right. But the stadium's beautiful, and the Cardinals, without Murray, were solid as a rock. The game was never really in doubt after the first quarter. Niners just could not stop them. It was pretty impressive.
Yeah, we were too the week before with our backup.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't. Something about the Cardinals. I don't know, dude. I know Bluff, Marcus. He's real big on the Cardinals. He has been before the season started. He was big on them. I'm just not big on them. I'm not big on Murray. I'm not big on anything on that team. Their defense. I'm big on their defense. Their defense impressed me, but I don't know. We play them second last game, so maybe they'll prove me wrong that game. But they don't worry me. I worry more about the Packers, the Bucks, the Rams. That's my worries. That's the teams in the playoffs I'm going to worry about. I don't worry about the Cardinals. I don't know what it is about them. They just don't impress me.
Yeah, I got those all kind of grouped together. It's all coming together at the end of the year. It's going to get wild.
All right. So, where do you guys want to start? You guys want to start with Tyron Smith?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, before we talk about Steele at left tackle last week, before we talk about Collins, before we talk about any of that, let's just talk about Tyron Smith. So he was out most of the Minnesota game. He missed last Sunday. Jerry on the Fan said, in reference to him playing this Sunday, we'll see. It will be determined by how much pain he can withstand there. Talking about the bone spur. I don't know. I mean, that's not something that I just don't know about that injury. I don't know if he hasn't been able to take the pain up to this point. Is the pain really going to reduce until he gets it fixed? Charley?
I doubt it. I doubt it. How much medicine is he willing to take? That's probably the question. I'm not real familiar with bone spurs. Never had any. Charley, can you speak on it?
No, I have bone breaks. That's all I've ever had. But yeah, no. I mean, I've had friends that have bone spurs. I know they're painful. I said 2 weeks ago that I thought you should say fuck it and get the surgery, because this is my thing is it's not bone spurs ain't like a sprained ankle, ain't like a hammy, ain't like a quad. They're fucking there. They don't like you don't like rest them and they automatically go back into the bone and disappear. I mean, they're gonna be there. So I'm not understanding the pain management thing and why he's even out. I mean, it just unless there's something I'm missing, because they're there. They're there to stay. No matter what the fuck he does, they're not going away. So I don't understand.
It's a high ankle sprain, and that's what I had heard originally. And then I started hearing bone spur stuff. So I don't know 100% exactly what's got him going.
See, that's why I'm going back to high ankle sprain. Is it even bone spurs? Because bone spurs ain't something you like. Hey, give them a couple of weeks and they'll get better. No, fucker, they want to be there. But if it's high ankle sprain, then we'll talk about something different. But I mean, Jerry says bone spurs. Brian Boda said high ankle sprain. There you go. I don't know. How they're treating it, it's a high ankle sprain.
Right.
Because if it's bone spurs, then resting him does no good. Because he's going to rest for a couple weeks and stay off of it. And of course, that's going to help the pain. But as soon as he gets back out there and starts doing what he does, they're going to start hurting again.
Yeah, that is weird too, because he stopped right in the middle of that Minnesota game. And it's not like bone spurs would have just appeared right then. So high ankle sprain sounds more likely.
Could even be a mix of the two.
Yeah, I'm looking at this article right now on DallasCowboys.com. They're calling it an ankle injury that has bone spurs. Maybe it's both.
What the hell was that?
Probably both.
I have no idea. No clue.
Yeah.
There was a tweet today from Boss Cowboy Sports regarding Steele and Collins. Should Tyron be able to come back this week or even next week and play? Should he come back and play? At that point, should the Dallas Cowboys still be constantly working with whoever we decide to put at left tackle, constantly working them there at practice? It doesn't seem like this situation with Tyron, that he's going to be able to finish a season, that we're going to be able to depend on him in that position.
Agreed. So even if Tyron can come play, I definitely would prefer to keep that guy working in practice over there with the first team. Because, Tyron, he could just step right in. He'll be fine. When his time comes and they say he can play, he'll jump right in there. But they moved Lael to left tackle last week, right?
No, Steele.
They put Lael at right. So Lael obviously had a little trouble adjusting. So by all means, give him more practice time there.
Yeah, kind of adding what Ed says. I think keeping Steele at left tackle, kind of letting him at least work into that swing position. And, if worst case scenario, he's there for another 3-4 weeks.
Ooh.
Lael, I think, will be better at right tackle, but I think that's probably our best thing to do. I prefer a young, growing Steele over Ty Nishesky, I think.
Yeah.
Nseki.
Thank
you. Yeah.
I mean, there were several takes on that. I had my own. I wanted to move Steele over to the left and plug Collins in at the right, which is ultimately what they did. But then I also agreed with Charley's take on it, which was that, Steele's been doing really well at right tackle. Why don't we leave him there? Because we know that he's going to perform well. We've only seen Collins perform at right tackle one time in 20 some odd games because of injury and suspension. So since we know what we know about Steele, leave him where we know he's good and put the maybe out over at left tackle. Now we've got two maybes because we've got Steele at left where we haven't been seeing him, and now we've got Lael on the right where we've only seen him in the Tampa Bay game, none last season, and nothing for the last 5-6 weeks. So,
and lo and behold, when we had those two maybes, we just got our ass kicked. So, right on, Charley.
Yeah, and it's not like fucking Collins tore it up at right tackle this game either. Overall, he played about as good as Steele has the whole season. It wasn't much better or much worse than what Steele has. So he basically stayed the same at, I don't know. People's down on Nishesky. Where the fuck you pronounce his name? I'm just gonna call him Ty for this conversation. Okay. People are down on him, and I'm in the minority. I'm not down on him. And during the Minnesota game, I think, man, I don't know why the fuck we do this, but as fans, we see some bad shit for like 4 or 5 plays, and we fucking focus in on that, and we forget everything else that player does after that. And if you go back and watch the Minnesota game, he was in fucking Cooper Rush's lap 4 or 5 times in a row. He looked bad.
Yeah.
But you didn't see it. Nobody said nothing about him the rest of the game. And why? Because he cleaned it up. He settled in. And if you go back and watch that last drive that we had against Minnesota, he didn't give up one fucking pressure. He dominated that last drive that we had to go down and score that touchdown. And I said then, it takes a lot when a backup comes in, hasn't had no reps during the week, because backups don't get a lot of reps. And then he comes in cold right off the fucking bench and goes in there and has to play left tackle. Yeah, you might have a little bump in the road for a few plays, and he did. He had 4 or 5 bump in the roads, but he settled in. He played well. My thing was last week was let Collins and let fucking Ty battle it out. Let the best man win and put him at left tackle. I just do not want Steele at left tackle. He's solid. He's young. He sucked last year. He worked his ass off in the offseason. We got him at right tackle. He settled in there. And I don't think people understand how much fucking difference it is moving sides from going from the right to left. It's totally different. Your drop step is different. You're dropping with a different foot. Your first punch that you have fucking coming out of the gate is with a different hand. Everything is different. Everything's the opposite on that side. And it showed. He gave up fucking 11 pressures and 2 sacks. And people said, well, I don't want Ty in there. Really? Because fucking y'all lost y'all shit last week when fucking Ty fucking gave up 4 fucking pressures in a row, and y'all just fucking say we can't have him in there, but now Steele's over there. Well, let's just give him another week. And my thing is, I that's what they're going to do, but I'm not on board with it. I'm on board if Ty can do it, let Ty do it. At least Ty's taking snaps over there. During the preseason, during the thing, he's played in the NFL, started at a game at left tackle. And what do? We decide we're going to put a young guy over there and let him start and him get the fucking brakes beat off of him. But maybe another week of practice he'll do better. Let's hope, because he can't do much worse.
Right. At least we got another opponent that's not, one of the big league leaders, So
and that's what the lunatic said, and that's what I've been saying forever. Fucking Collins has not played football in one game in 22 games. Now 2 games in 24 games, I think. And we all think he's going to be 2019 version fucking Collins. And I don't know why people automatically assume that. He had one good year at right tackle. One. 2017, he was not good. 2018, he was average. And then he broke out in 2019, and now everybody just anointed him. Like, that's it. He's top 5 right tackle. Got to put him back in there. He had hip surgery, and he fucking missed the whole season and missed 5 games because of suspension. Everybody just assumes he is who he is. And,
maybe he isn't anymore at all. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe he will. That was his first game back, too, and besides the game against the Bucs. So, maybe a couple games he'll get his shit back together. But right now we got a tackle problem. That's pretty much at the end of the story how we're talking. We got an issue. Now, where you want to put him, I don't know, but right now it's a guessing game.
Yeah.
For me, we need to go back to the look that we had in Minnesota when Smith went out and Nsekhe came in. I like what DJ Dog said earlier about keeping Steele where he's comfortable and cobbling together left tackle with Nsekhe and Collins. I like that. The lunatic had said that Nsekhe was a bad pass blocker, better run blocker.
Well, so is fucking Steele. So is fucking Collins is a perfect example of that. Collins is a fucking road grader when it comes to fucking run blocking.
Right.
But he's meh when it comes to pass protection. And to be honest with you, I don't give a shit how they fucking run block. Because I don't have a $60 million running back there. Or 40 million, 160 million overall. I want them to protect Dak. We cannot win if our tackles are giving up fucking pressures and sacks. We can't win.
Nope.
It's not going to work. It's not going to work, and you're going to end up getting your fucking quarterback hurt. So whoever's best at pass protection, fine. We'll deal with the run blocking. We'll give them some help with the 2 tight ends or some bullshit. But I want good pass protectors. I want Dak to be protected.
Totally agree.
Eddie?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm just kind of going through all of it myself too. I think probably me being on that bandwagon of Steele, I would rather see him than, Ty in there at left tackle, just because I know Steele is going to be a part of our future game plan, whether it's him at right tackle or just a permanent swing tackle fixture or whoever we may draft, etc. I prefer seeing him get the reps than Ty, just because I know he's a guy we're going to have to depend on and going to be a part of our line for the future. But yeah, it could be him at left or right, whichever works. But yeah, we just got to do a better job at blocking for Dak pass pro.
We're talking about it over and over, but really it's just going to depend on how things look in practice and how reps go in practice. That's what's going to guide their decision more than anything else.
Yeah, I will say this: there is no right answer. The only right answer is the answer that ends up working. All right. I mean, I can say Ty. He can say Steele. Somebody else can say Collins, and it doesn't really matter. Whichever one works is what's going to happen. I mean, because I can't guarantee you Ty's going to do good. I can assume that he can at least give up 11 pressures and 2 sacks like Steele did. I mean, that's the 4 there. So. But yeah, and I understand progress stopper, and I'm real big on progress stoppers. I like playing young guys and letting them get out there and get their wings wet. With that said, I like that shit with fucking cornerbacks sometimes and safeties and linebacker. I don't like that shit with my left tackle that's protecting my $160 million quarterback. I'm not. I don't mind progress. Stopping some progress if it means I get a little bit more protection on my quarterback. That worries me. My thing is this: you can always change them out. There's nothing wrong at halftime going in the locker room and saying, "Hey, look, dude, you fucking suck. We're going to put somebody else in there for the rest of the half." You getting that message?
What message?
Huh?
Rika, you see that? We're having trouble streaming to Facebook. This may be an issue with Facebook in.
No, I'm not getting it.
I just got
Oh,
one.
I just got it. Okay. We'll
It's
keep
no big
trying
deal.
and let you know.
Nobody
I noticed
watches
I
on
know.
Facebook anyway, so I'm not worried.
Well, we dropped off a few viewers really fast, and I thought maybe it was just because you wouldn't shut the fuck up. But now I realize it's because there's a problem with Facebook.
There goes Rika.
Yeah.
Look at her. No, I did that to her.
Okay.
Send me back in there. Kick me off.
I used to be able to kick you off. You couldn't do nothing about it. Now you're in on my stream and you can control it.
Yes. Yes. Now I have all the power. Okay.
DJ Dog said YouTube is fine, so that's cool.
Okay.
Cool.
Well, this is her show.
Yeah. It's her show. Drops in viewership. We always blame Charley.
I do.
Damn right we do. So let's see. Gallup and Hill. Yeah, I had that written down to Lunatic. And a few more people mentioned it. I'm expecting to see Gallup and Hill this week. I mean, especially Gallup Hill. I don't know, but Gallup.
Yeah, I'm like a lot though. It's tough to sit Wilson. He's showing up, man.
Oh, for Gallup, it's not tough for me to set him. Gallup gives this offense a whole. And nothing against Wilson. I'll agree with you. I love that dude, and I hope we re-sign him for a little cheap contract to keep because he's good on special teams. He's a great fourth wide receiver, and if you need him for a third, he can step in and do the third. But Gallup brings something to this team that Wilson just can't. I mean, Wilson can't take the top off, and he can't make some of the catches that fucking Gallup will. And so, yeah. But with that said, I love Wilson. I'm hoping that he'll come back for a little, a cheap contract and stay with us.
Right.
Because he's definitely an asset to us.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. All right. Before we move on, real quick. Well, not real quick. I don't do anything like that fast, but before we move on. It's giveaway time. Listen, everybody. The Lunatic has very generously donated 2 t-shirts from twistedgorilla.com, and we'll be giving those away to lucky viewers in the month of November. All you have to do to enter is share this show. You can share any show from the Dallas Cowboys Uncensored channel. Share it to Twitter. Share it to Facebook. Just share it. Tag me at Chains Moving on Twitter or Rika Moves the Chains on Facebook. And when I see the tag, you'll be entered for a chance to win your choice of t-shirts from twistedgorilla.com. And we'll be giving those away on this show on November 30th. So make sure to hit that share button. You want to get in on that.
Rika, you know her?
Who?
Sally.
I do not know Sally. Hi, Sally. Thanks for joining us.
What up, Sally?
I guess she's new. So welcome.
Welcome to the show. We've had, since we last talked, we've had Stephen White come in. Thank you, Stephen. I saw Mendoza in the chat earlier. Of course, DJ Dog, my guy, the Lunatic. Thank you, everybody.
Pat Campbell.
So Pat was in here. So glad to see everybody in the show. So, all right, guys, let's talk about the kicker. Greg the leg is now Greg the COVID-19 positive leg.
Yes.
So the Cowboys are working out Liram, Hallelujah, or whatever the hell his last name is, and Brett Maher.
Hey,
Brett Maher is just not my favorite person.
Oh.
And I don't know if it's entirely really Brett's fault that he's not my favorite person.
Oh, yes,
I mean, with that first stint with the Cowboys, he was 49 of 63 on the field goals. He was 68 of 69 on the extra points. 68 of 69. I'm sorry. And most of those misses were in that last handful of games. And I guess what frustrated me the most was because it took Jason Garrett so long to pull the trigger and do something about it. Was in my, like we said earlier, it's, you have a bad day. Brett Maher had a lot of bad days in 2019. They were all consecutive. So what do you guys think? Are you willing to give Maher another shot? He's bounced around the NFL quite a bit since leaving us. He's been to the Jets, the Washingtons, the Cardinals, New Orleans, the Texans.
DJ dog.
You're on, DJ.
DJ, in the words of Aaron Rodgers.
That was a good one. That was good one.
Vaccinated or immunized? And I like
That's
Cobra
what
Kai
I was going to say. What is Kai Forbath?
I love Kai Forbath. Why aren't we bringing in Kai Forbath for a look? He's probably pissed at us because he lost his job for no apparent damn reason to Greg
Probably
Zuerlein.
got solid unemployment at an insurance firm at this point. He doesn't want to, step away from that.
I wish we could sign Kai Forbath over Maher.
I would.
The thing about Maher that upset me the most is the guy can make these heroic 59, 61 yarders.
62, 63-yard field goals, and then he misses the 39.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather we have a kicker that we know is going to miss 51 and above and just know what we're getting than a guy who can make heroic kicks that reels you in with hope and then just starts missing the easy ones, the ones that he should make. It just
I'd be willing to give the new blood a chance. I'd give the young guy the shot. Will it be a blessing in disguise if he steps in and does a good job and we end up letting Greg go? Yeah.
Could be.
Think about Forbath. It's not just us that doesn't sign him. I'm just shocked that fucking more teams don't give him a chance. It's like if you look at his career, he's a pretty solid fucking kicker. I mean, he's pretty solid. He's not great. He's not like Tucker or anything like that, but he's a good fucking kicker. But it's not just us. It's like nobody. It's like teams pick him up like in a situation like this, let him kick for a week or two, and then cut him. When their other kicker comes back, and usually their other kicker ain't no better than he is. So I'm not really understanding what the deal is with him. Again, not just with the Cowboys, with the whole NFL not giving him a chance. Him not having a job more often than he does. And as far as kickers go, I'm not trying to be fucking Debbie Downer here, but I just don't really give a shit who our kicker is. I mean, kickers, I don't really ever care. I don't care if he makes a 55er or if he misses 39-yard. Fucking go for it on fourth downs. I'm going to go for a fourth down guy anyways. I wish we would just take the fucking kicker to totally out of our game. Put him in there, when we got a 30-point lead in the fourth quarter, let him kick some field goals. But I'm not really too concerned about who our kicker is. But if I had to choose, it's not going to be more. I will give you that. I would rather go with the young guy and give him a shot.
Yeah.
But it's just kickers never concern me. I very seldom, I just don't really care. We go forward a lot on fourth down anyway, so we kind of take him out of the picture anyway. So, hell, we had a 38-yarder the other day, 4th and 2, and we still went for it. So, which, by the way, I loved. Most people didn't, but I loved it.
Well, they probably didn't trust Greg on that. So,
yeah, it's just like I said. I mean, I don't know. I don't like sweating kickers. Just fucking go for it. And if it's 1 or 2 yards to go, I'm always going to pick the 1 or 2 yards and keep my best players out there, which is Dak, Zeke, Pollard, Martin, Smith, Cooper. I trust them to get a 2-yard, 1 or 2 yards, and the more than I trust a kicker kick a 38, 40, 50-yard field goal. That's just me. I'm just not big on kickers. But you can always get the best one, and I don't think Maher is going to be the best one.
Hey, anything under 4th and 5, if you're past half midfield, I'm okay going for it. I've said that for many years.
Me too. All right. So
yes, I agree. I agree with that.
All right. So as far as kickers go, we'd rather have Liram Hajrulahu, I believe is how you say it. Liram. And we want Brett Maher to go fuck himself. Okay. I told you I'm not a Brett Maher fan. It might be a little bit Jason Garrett's fault, but it's probably a lot Brett Maher's fault. Now, because we have Ed and Eddie on the show tonight, I'm so excited. We are going to take a cue from their show, their fantastic YouTube channel. We're going to do a 2-Minute Tuesday. If you haven't watched 2-Minute Tuesdays on Ed and Eddie Silver and Blue, they are fantastic. I love it when they do that. Ours probably isn't going to be 2 minutes because there's 4 of us and we all talk way too damn much. and I'm not smart enough to figure out how to do a timer.
10-minute
So-
Tuesday.
So we're gonna do
10-minute Tuesday.
we're gonna do
There you go.
22-minute Tuesday.
Hey, there you go.
So here's the question. What is the hardest loss you've watched as a Cowboys fan?
Oh, easy. 15 years old. I'm sitting in the apartments. I've been bragging to all my friends growing up in Sacramento, just 95 miles away from San Francisco, about the Cowboys all year. 15 years old, right? Middle school. That's all they've been hearing from me. I have one Cowboys t-shirt. I wear it 3 days a week. I'm so excited. And the problem was there were no Niner fans around Sacramento for so many years. They were all Raider fans, right? And all of a sudden, this one year, they all start wearing Niners t-shirts and jackets and it's just like hats. And it just really got on my nerves. I learned then what a fair weather fan was. And my older brother taught me. He said, look at all these guys. And I just, but the Cowboys were going to face me in the NFC Championship. And I was so excited. 1981.
I'm about to say that had to be the early 80s. Because I was
1981, yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
I made a big banner. I got this roll of butcher paper, and I always had an art background. And I bought these paints, and I wrote Cowboys with stars and hung it outside the apartment. And freaking Dwight fucking Clark makes the catch. And all the kids in the apartments came running. They ripped the damn banner down, and they're screaming outside, yelling at me. And I didn't go out.
You didn't go outside, dude?
Crying my eyes out, right?
Well, there you go. Ripped the banner down.
Easy for me.
That's a good story there.
Nothing worse than your best friend going, "Nice banner, asshole," and just
yeah. They used a different word back then that you can't say nowadays, but yeah. It was bad.
DJ Dog says expansion, Houston Texans beating Campo Lake Cowboys, embarrassing.
Oh yeah.
The
other
I was so drunk. I mean, hammered for that game.
Didn't you tell me you were there?
No, I was. We was watching at a buddy's house that game, and that was. I didn't even really say too much after that game. I mean, it was just like, dude, did we just? And bad thing about it was, I was living in the Houston area. That's when I lived in a little town, Deer Park, southeast side of Houston. So most of my friends down there. Well, I say most of them. A lot of them was Cowboy fans, but I had a lot of Texan fans. And of course, I worked on a ship channel, the chemical plants. They was all Texan fans. And I'm like, I don't even want to go into fucking work that next day. And I had to go into work next day. And it was, dude, it was fucking awful. I mean, like they caught me at the gate when I clocked in. It was just from that time to the fucking time I left. I mean, on the radio all night, there's, hey, Charlie. I'm like, yeah, go ahead. Hey, how about them Cowboys? Like, yeah, fucking go suck a dick, dude. I was so pissed. It was like all night they would not let it go. And it was bad.
My God.
Yeah, Pat was, I think me and Pat Campbell watched that game. I'm pretty sure he was part of that group that I was with that night. But yeah, it was bad. That wasn't my worst one. Eddie, what was yours?
Oh man. So I want to say it was the 08-09 season, final game of the year. We had to beat the Eagles in a win and you're in situation. And I want to say, we lost something like 40-6 from the moment.
44-6, some shit like that. You're right. It was bad. Dude.
It was just bad from start to finish. Romo fumbling for a recovery for a touchdown, blocked field goal, everything. And to make matters worse, my best friend, shout out to Siren, is an Eagles fan. And he has the sharpest tongue, talks the most trash, and I could not escape him for a week. We're going to school the next day, getting texts and calls. Eddie, how about them Cowboys?
Thank
you. And, other best friend is a Giants fan, so he's joining into it. It was just terrible.
And how old were you?
I think I want to say it was about 14, 15. Yeah, about you. Yeah, same age. Just it was painful, man, because I was all hyped up. I'm like, no, this is going to be our week. We're going to beat the Eagles, go into the playoffs, and furthest thing from it, laid an egg in front of everybody.
Yeah, that was a bad game. That was awful.
Rika,
what was yours?
For me, Rika's freaking jerk. For me, I was around during that 81 game, but I was pretty little. I was about 4 years old then. So mine is the 94 NFC Championship game where we lost to San Francisco by 10 points.
Really? Okay.
Just simply because you get that far and then it doesn't happen for you. And that was what was the most heartbreaking for me, is to get that far. You lose earlier in the playoffs, it's upsetting. You have a bad season, it's upsetting, but you're just so close to getting there and you don't.
Yeah.
That was hard for me. That was tough. I was a junior in high school.
Oh, right. Yeah, that was they dropped 21 points in the first quarter to the Niners. They were down 21-0. Michael Irvin fumbled after a catch across the middle. Troy Aikman threw a pick six on the right side. Got fooled on a man-slash zone. And the ref screwed us. Even still, the Cowboys had a chance to come back. And Dion had a clear pass interference on Irvin that was not called. And, coach ran down the sideline, screamed at the ref, got another 15-yard penalty, and that was it. That was a heartbreaker, that game. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was horrible. That one didn't bother me as much as other ones, just because we had just came off 2 back-to-back Super Bowl wins, and that team was so fucking good. I was like, fuck it, we'll be back next year. You know what I'm saying? I mean, in my mind, I'm like, it sucked. And don't get me wrong, Rock. I had a $200 bet on that fucking game that I lost. I was in the house with the guy. I had a $200 bet game. He was fucking constantly talking shit to me the whole game, you know. And yeah, it was bad. But overall, once the game was over, I'm like, fuck it, we'll be back next year. But it sucked. I drank a lot of beer that night too.
That 82 NFC Championship game with the catch. Speaking of which, yesterday at the stadium, or Sunday at the stadium, the gate we're walking in, it's got this big statue of Dwight Clark. Thinking, oh, great.
It's got to suck, dude.
And but it was okay because 10 years later, the Cowboys went back to Candlestick and they got revenge. Yeah. You know, with what's up?
Do you remember that promo? The promo was about the catch. Going into the game, you know, like damn, my mind just went blank.
Pat Summerall, John Madden.
Pat Summerall, there you go. Pat Summerall was narrating it, and they talking about the catch and shit like that. That was a big game. I love that. That's probably my favorite game in Cowboy. After even above the Super Bowl, was that '92 championship game?
Yes,
probably my favorite game ever, because I didn't give a shit who we played in the Super Bowl. If we got past San Fran, we was winning the Super Bowl. So that was my Super Bowl. That was like, fuck, we got another one, you know. So that was probably my most exciting game.
And Rika, I sent you a picture on Twitter just now. I don't know if you saw it or not. Or
I'm getting it.
That was taken during the catch game. That was me and my brother and sister during the catch game.
Wow, cool. Okay.
And 10 years later, we all watched that 92 one together. And I remember it was raining, and we're all jumping up and down. It's pouring rain outside, watching the Cowboys celebrate in Candlestick in the mud. That was the best. That was the best, man. So, and then they got 2 more Super Bowls after that. Yeah. Fantastic. I just realized how pathetic this sounds to non-Cowboy fans.
Here we go.
Yeah, there's a Cowboy fan for you.
Yeah, I finally got it. I couldn't get it to save, but I finally got it. There we go.
There it is. Hey. That was taken probably like a minute before the catch during that drive. I think that's when that was taken.
Awesome.
I wore the hell out of that T-shirt. So anyway,
that fucking hair, dude. I had that same fucking haircut. I had blonde hair. It was always long. I went into a mullet stage, and then eventually I fucking lost that shit. So I just started shaving it.
Yeah, I had the mullet during the 92 game. Oh yeah.
I had all one length hair. I had the grunge look, the Nirvana Pearl Jam look during 92.
Sure.
Yeah.
The plaid shirt. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, plaid. No, it wasn't plaid. It was cut out sleeveless fucking shirt and fucking flip flops or Vans. I would either wear Vans or flip flops all the time. Smoked a lot of stuff, you know. Back then. You know,
good times.
Good times. It was good times back then. But my worst loss was a 2007 division round against the Giants. I mentioned this on the show with Wedge Buster.
Yeah,
that we had last week. or the week before, whenever that was. I lose my track of time. That game, when I told you earlier that I don't ride the high waves and I also don't ride the low waves.
Right.
It was all for that game. That game made me watch football totally different. Pat Campbell's in the chat right now, and he'll tell you that game pissed me off more than any game that lost than we ever had. He was there that night. I had a Gilligan, one of them Gilligan hats on, Cowboys hats.
Bucket hat.
Yeah, I had a T.O. jersey, and underneath that jersey, I had a Cowboys sweater. We had been barbecuing all day. I fucking burnt everything I owned in that fucking pit that night. I took my hat off.
Oh.
It was 30-something degrees. I had shorts on. That's only shorts and my shoes. I fucking took everything off and put it in the pit.
Oh.
They came outside. They was like, "What's that burning?" I was like, "My fucking clothes. Fuck this team."
You know, confirmed.
Yeah, it was because that was 12 years since we had done anything. We was the best team in the NFC that year, and the only one even close to us was Green Bay. So I knew out of all the other years, like, look, man, we're not guaranteed to get back to this point, and this team ain't guaranteed to be this good next year. You know, because the cap had already kind of taken full effect and affecting teams, keep teams together and shit. So I wanted that game. I mean, that to me, that game was really, really, really important. And so when we lost it, man, I just said, fuck it, man. I'm not going to ride the high waves anymore. Where I used to be that guy that would always tell people, this team is different. This team is going to Super Bowl. We're going to win it all this year. And after that, I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to ride these waves anymore. But I'm also not going to ride the low ones where if we're not good, if we suck, fire all the coaches. I'm just going to stay even kill. And I'll say this. Till this day, that was still our best chance to get back to the Super Bowl. I'm not saying that was our best team. And then people always say, no, the 2016-14 team was better. I'm not saying that. I agree. Them teams was better. But the competition them teams had was greater. We didn't have no competition that year. It was the Packers, and that's it. Now, we had New England if we made it, but I'm just talking about just getting back there. That's the only competition we had was Green Bay, and we kind of owned them anyways. They was going to have to come to our house. We done beat them, earlier that year. So I just had confidence that, that was the only thing we had got to get past was Green Bay. Like in 2014, we had Green Bay and we had Seattle, and they was pretty much matched up pretty close to us. So I know we had went into Seattle and beat them, but we was going to have to go into Seattle again and beat them. We was going to have to go to Green Bay, beat Green Bay on the road, which we didn't. Des catch, no catch, doesn't matter. But all them three teams was like close, like you could pick any of them and make an argument that they was the best team. 2016, same thing. We had Atlanta, we had Green Bay, which ended up beating us in our house, and we had a rookie quarterback. As much as I love Dak, it was just like, hey man, he's young. This is going to take a lot for us to do. But then I do think that team was better than the 2017. But the chances to get back to this day, I don't think we had a better chance to get back except the two. That was a heartbreaking loss for me. That was
so I'm guessing you burned your Patrick Creighton jersey that day?
No, yeah. If I had one, I would have burned anything I had. If it would have been a Rome, and I love T.O., and I didn't blame T.O. for that loss. He just happened to be the jersey I was wearing that day. And I'm like, fuck it, man. I'm burning everything I own right now that I'm wearing. But I mean, now in my defense, I think Pat might be able to remember this, about 23, 24 beers that day. So I was pretty lit up. Yeah, I had drank close to a case of beer by the end of that game. So that's my excuse, and I'm sticking with it. But either way, I mean, but yeah, that was a bad game for me. That like I said, that game still haunts me because and everybody was like, we'll be back next year. I'm like, no, dude, there's no guarantee. And what happened next year? His worst game, 2008, we lose to fucking Philadelphia, winning in game 44-6 or whatever it was, and we didn't even make the playoffs, and we haven't done shit since then. And that's why I tell people, it's like when you have that opportunity like that, you have to take advantage of it, man. And like I said, we was the second best team in the NFL and the best team in the NFC, and we was clearly that. You know, I mean, like I said, 2014, we could argue that we was the best team. We was better than Green Bay and we was better than Seattle, but they could make a legit argument for it too. We was all kind of tight. That year we wasn't. That year we was clearly the best team. I mean, and it wasn't even really that close. So that was my worst loss.
It's a wonder I'm still with us, frankly, because despite that catch game, that was really tough on me in '81. But that was one of 3 NFC championships in a row the Cowboys lost.
Yeah, that was 3.
They lost to the Eagles, the Niners, and the Redskins on consecutive years in the NFC championship. Danny White was just cursed and could not get over the hump. So it was a brutal time for me.
If you were older, you
probably love those teams. I love those 80s teams.
Yeah, a lot of people don't remember their 80 teams. Them 80 teams, them early 80 teams, they was really good. Danny White don't get a lot of credit in Cowboy Nation because he wasn't Roger Staubach and he didn't never win the big one, but he was a damn good quarterback. Like the older generation, like my dad, he hated him because my dad was a Roger guy. So he thought Danny sucked and he's bullshit. He can't win. The younger generation, like me, and I guess yourself probably, I actually like Danny White. I mean, when I went out in the backyard and played football and I was a quarterback, I mean, I was like, hey, I'm Danny White. Actually, when I was on defense, I was Randy White on defense, and I was and I was running the ball most times, so I was Dorsett on the other side.
Dorsett, yes.
I actually got a trading card that's on Facebook. I'd go look it up, but I don't feel like it. But it's on my sophomore year when I was 10 years old. On the back of it, favorite team, Dallas Cowboys. Favorite player, Drew Pearson. Drew Pearson was my favorite player.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love those early 80s teams. Those are great. The Thurman Steves, the defensive backfield, is incredible.
Yep. But yeah, awesome. No, like I said, that 2007 game, it still burns. But like I said, it helped me to this day. Like that loss yesterday or Sunday didn't bother me as much as it bothers other fans because of that loss. That loss made me, like I said, I took everything from it. It's like I'm watching football emotionally different than I am anymore. Because
you're a broken man, Charlie.
Yeah, I used to get on a high so high, and then I had so far to fall. And then my lows were so bad. And I'm like, I can't do this shit anymore, man. I said, I got to just fucking kind of stay in the middle and just, hey, take a win is what it is. A win, a loss is what it is, a loss. And don't get too over emotional about it.
Hey, I love Romo, but I think he was partly responsible for a lot of people going through that where they just like, that's it. I'm done. I'm not putting the emotional investment in it anymore.
Well, that Romo for me was kind of that too, but also it was just, I kind of had a come into Jesus moment of why am I letting my idiot 16-year-old friends getting me this riled up? You might have been the one who told me that. And it's like, hey, son, it's just a game. Relax. I'm like, no, it's not. And then I'm like, oh, yeah, it is. All right, fair enough.
Yeah, that's what. Now you learned at a lot earlier age than I did. Because in 2007, I would have been 34, 35 years old.
Burning jerseys.
It took me to 34 or 35 to learn. Hey, dude, you gotta calm the fuck down on this and don't let this shit ruin your whole week. And it did. Hell, that one ruined my whole. I tell you what, I didn't watch another fucking game all year. I watched the Super Bowl. I didn't watch the NFC Championship games. I didn't pay attention. I didn't pay attention to ESPN and anything. Until the Super Bowl was played that night, I did watch the Super Bowl.
Wow.
Yeah. I just think you wouldn't have let me get away with burning jerseys. As soon as you would see it happen one time, it's over. No more jerseys for me.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah,
great subject. Thanks for bringing me down, Rika. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're supposed to end this shit happy.
Well, we can be happy that those games are over. Okay. So we'll be
does Dak bounce back this week?
I'm sorry, what?
Does Dak bounce back this week?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It shocks me that Dak didn't bounce back in the second half, and to some extent, I think he did in the fourth quarter, but the rest of the team really didn't. Dak is so resilient that when we saw that couple seasons ago, trying to remember which game, I want to say it was a season opener. He comes out, he throws a pick the first play they run, the second play he threw the pick, and then came right back out the next series and just tore it up. I mean, he shook it off. He does that so well. I can't do that. I wake up in the morning and I spill part of my coffee, and the rest of the day is just horrible and terrible, and I'm throwing everything, and I'm mad. Dak, shit goes bad. It's all right. Comes right back out, gets back to work.
I think he will. Happen. And a big part of it too was, in our video, The Good, Bad, Ugly, the receivers had an ugly game. I counted in the third quarter alone 3 different drops, all from Coop, from Lamb, from Wilson. And, throughout the whole game, probably like 5 drops. And, 5 drops on a quarterback, that's like, roughly give or take 15, 20% of your passes that are incomplete, which makes him look a lot worse than he arguably was that day.
Lunatic, I said the same thing. I thought, was this the worst game he's ever had as a Cowboy? And I think it is.
I think so.
Well, yeah, I agree. He'll bounce back big time.
There's a couple of games people brought up on Twitter that could challenge this game, but yeah, it's definitely the top 2 or 3. I mean, it was bad. I mean, it was absolutely fucking horrible. But yeah, I agree. There was 3. TP dropped 1, Cooper dropped 1, and Lamb dropped 1. And I remember these 3 because they was all slant routes, and if they would have caught it, they would have ran for at least 20 more yards.
Cooper, especially. Cooper was wide open.
That's like drive killers. That's like just everything. It's just kind of that was a first down. That kept the series, keep the series going, move the chains. Now, with that said, he missed fucking Lamb twice, way the fuck over his head. Missed Cooper 1 time over his head. That play, that 4th and 2 where nobody knew what happened, thought he got tipped. Dak admitted it. That was just a bad throw. He threw it at his feet. Just whatever happened, he didn't come through. It just went straight down to the ground. So yeah, it was. That's why I'm not worried about it. Because I mean, everybody had for us to continue that you have to assume that everybody's going to suck again. And that's like I said in the video, I'm going off my 7 weeks of priors before that game. That's what I'm going off of. There's nothing in them 7 weeks before that showed that that's the team. What bothers me the most is people are actually questioning a guy on Twitter. I can't remember his name. I'd call him out. But he said that what worries about this game is it makes him think we might not be ready yet. And I'm like, fucking, are you kidding me, dude? Like, you had 7 weeks of proof where we were. Whether we're ready yet, that's up to you. But if you thought we were ready and people were saying we're Super Bowl contenders because of 7 weeks of fucking evidence of film, why are you going to let one game just say, yeah, no, dude, I don't think we're ready because of that one game. It just, I mean, I bring up, people like to bring up the 90 Cowboys. They lost, dude. They lost 15 games in 4 years, and that team was dominant. That team was up here and everybody else was down here, and they lost games. I mean, they got 31-7 against fucking Philadelphia week 5 of 1992. They got fucking throttled.
I brought that up.
Lost against the Rams. Go ahead, Dad. Go ahead.
No, I brought that exact game up on our video. And if you're not subscribed, subscribe to Ed and Eddie, Silver and Blue. But I talked about it with Junior here, that they were riding high and they go into Philadelphia. They were undefeated. They go into Philadelphia on a Monday night. And the very first possession, 3 and out, the third down being a pick by Aikman. And the whole game was downhill after that. And they literally just beat the snot out of Aikman. So that team ended up being just fine. So that doesn't mean this team sucks or Dak's getting paid too much. They're going to be fine. And DJ Dog, you're exactly right. Pearson had that big block at the end of that run. And trivia of the day, did you know there were only 10 players on the field for Dallas on Dorsett's 99-yard run?
Hey, there you go. Look at you.
Yeah, I kind of like you guys. I think Dak is going to be fine. And, it's kind of fitting that one of his worst games as a pro was literally our entire team from top to bottom. So, you can't really just look at it and say, oh, Dak is the sole reason we're just getting throttled. It was everybody. And, kind of just shows like it is a team game. And if the entire team is playing poorly, that means the quarterback will likely play poorly. It happens. And kind of like you said, Pat, I think we're going to be just fine. I think we're going to bounce back and look a lot better against the Falcons, especially now that we're back into serious drive mode. We're not still riding high on past wins.
Mm-hmm. Feel bad for the Falcons.
Yeah, like I said, and Pat, I've been friends with Pat for over 30 years, but yeah, I disagree with him there. I don't think this week would give us an nod. I think I got a nod deal. I don't need this week. I didn't need last week. I mean, we are who we are. I mean, we're one of the top 5 teams in NFL, and that's how I feel. I'm not going to let one game start questioning me and start making me say, well, I need to see them this game to tell me who they are. I saw who they were. I saw them go into the Bucs house and make Tom Brady do Tom Brady things to beat us, in the last 2 minutes of the game. That's with the new DC. My sympathies to you, Pat.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. With a new DC with a bunch of young players on defense. Our quarterback hadn't played in a year, and we made Tom Brady do Tom Brady things. I've seen us go into San Diego. San Diego, here I go again. Going to LA and beat the Chargers, a good team in their house. I've seen them fucking mollywop 3 bad teams, which is what good teams do, beat the shit out of bad teams. And that's what we did against Carolina, New York, and Philly. Then I seen us go on the road and beat a pretty good team in New England. You know, we scrapped it out, beat them in overtime. Then I seen us go on the road again against an average team, not great, but they're average, in a hostile environment. A stadium is hard to play in, and we beat them with our backup quarterback. I'm sorry, that's my priors, and that's what I'm sticking with. I'm not going to let one game say, you know, maybe we're not that team. I had 7 games of evidence of who we are. I don't need one game to tell me who we are. You know.
Hey, Pat, I'll jump off that bridge if I get to it. Don't worry about it now. For sure, though.
I don't think they fold again, Pat. At least not that hard.
Well, like I said on the video, and in the video, when if they do, then get back with me. I'll put another video out, and my tone will change. But until then, I'm not going to sit around and fucking like, man, wonder if we're going to win this game or not, because there's nothing to show that's who we are. That game was a fucking fluke to me. It was just like one of them games, and this is the thing, man. And Pat, fuck, dude, you watch football. We watched a lot of Cowboys games together. How many times? I go back to the 90 Cowboys and fuck the 93 Cowboys just because they already had chips in their pocket, and I'm not even gonna bring them up. 92, dude, we didn't have no chips in our pocket. That team, we got mollywopped by fucking Philadelphia, and I don't remember any. We didn't have Twitter back then, but nobody was freaking the fuck out. It was just like, hey, man, that's a fucking bad game. I didn't question it. I knew who we were. You know, there was other games that we won like 20-17, and was just close games that we shouldn't have been close in. So I don't worry about it. I think I got the evidence of who we are, you know, and I don't need one game to show me who we are. That's just me, you know. But like I said, if we fuck up and lose again, then I'll have a different tone. But there's nothing that we've done in these 8 weeks of football to make me think. I got 7 weeks of great football or good football, great wins, and 1 week of fucking a clusterfuck. Which one am I going with? I'm not going with the 1 week. I'm going with the 7 weeks. There's no reason for me to even think about the 1 week. You know, I mean, Denver did some shit to us that no other team's been able to. Are we saying Denver's the best defense in NFL? You know, are we saying that they're that fucking great, that their fucking quarterback is one of the best quarterbacks? I mean, we made them look a lot. Yeah. Didn't you
hear Fangio? We've been exposed, man. Teams have just been playing us wrong. He said they didn't play Dallas the right way. He's got the answer.
Yeah, it's the undrafted, you know, Javonte Williams and Tim Patrick. They're the answers.
Yeah. I mean, they have backups in there. So I mean, like,
not even worried about it.
Fangio's defense is always solid. Going back years, he runs. They was talking about today on 105.3. I think it was 105.3, but he runs that defense that is hard to figure out because they can go from a man look and in the middle of the play, like after the ball is snapped, depending on their keys, they can go to zone, but or they can be in zone and there was certain keys after the ball snap, they can go in man. So it is somewhat of a difficult defense. Fucking San Diego runs a similar defense. Fucking Staley is a disciple of Fangio, and he runs a similar defense. And we only scored 20 points on him, but we had over 400 yards of offense on him. So we faced a defense like that before. It's just this one. We fucked up. We just nothing went right for us.
Right.
You know, I mean, like everything went wrong. We fucking.
But you know what? How would the game have gone? And I asked Eddie this: if they had made that first 4th and 1, and then went down and scored a TD, would that have changed the whole complex of the game? I mean, who knows? And like I said, man, that's kind of stuff that keeps me up at night. I wonder, you know, weird stuff can change on a single play.
Yeah. I mean, but when you look at their running back, what he averaged over 6 yards a carry, just drive like pulling Hamilton along the road with them for another 20 yards.
Right.
They curb stomped us. That's one of those games where, as a fan, I don't even worry about. You just toss it away. Hey, let's keep moving forward because we can't dwell on this too much.
Me and Rika had this conversation. The reason it doesn't worry me is because they're not a good team. not that Cowboys, Denver.
Yeah.
If that was a good team, then I'd be concerned because I'd be like, okay, maybe we're not ready. We just faced a really good team and they just fucking made us look stupid. But it's an average team. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather lose. If we lose, losses to bad teams don't bother me because you can always just hey, we overlooked them. Hey, we got a little big head and kind of went in the game, fucking, like a ghost and we got this and shit.
Right.
If a good team would have beat us like that, then that concerns me because that means, hey, do we match up to that good team? Because that obviously we don't because they just beat the shit out of us. When a bad team does it, I can easily just write it off like, hey, man, that's not who we are. We just, whatever we did, I still can't figure out, we just overlooked them maybe. We just kind of had a little bit too big head. I don't know. I mean, we looked flat. McCarthy even said it. Maybe he should have practiced different, because, they was going over penalties a lot. Maybe that made the defense not as aggressive. I know we didn't practice last week. We watched more film than we practiced. Maybe we should have practiced more. I mean, I think it's a learning thing for everybody. I just, like I said, I have 7 weeks of playing the Bucks, playing San Diego, fucking playing New England, playing Minnesota, playing all them other teams we beat the shit out of to worry about one game against an average team that they mollywopped us because it wouldn't make sense. None of it makes sense. And let's end all this. Jacksonville Jaguars beat fucking Buffalo Bills. Okay. They held that offense. That offense is known to be high power to 6 motherfucking points.
Right.
Okay. 6. Fucking Atlanta winning fucking beat fucking New Orleans. In fact, every fucking team in the early slate of games, the fucking team with the worst record fucking won. It was a weird fucking weekend. The weekend before was the weekend of the backup quarterbacks.
Weekend.
It's just, this is the NFL. Weird shit fucking happens. I don't expect, that's not a consistent thing. I don't see Buffalo. Did anybody get the blueprint? Did Jacksonville show the blueprint on how to stop Buffalo?
They've been exposed.
Or they've been exposed? And my other thing is this. If we was going in this game, we was 6-1. If we was 1-6 going in this game and we beat the shit out of Denver, would we all fucking say, oh yeah, that's us. That's us. That's who we are. We want to fucking that we're going to win. No. I mean, because we would go back on the other 6 piece of shit games that we had and like that's who we are. We just got lucky. That's how I'm doing this one. We were 6-1. I'm going to go with the other games. I'm not going to go with the one game that we look like shit on.
Yeah, Mendoza nailed it though. You're right. He's like, who's going to continue to play that way in the coming weeks? Will Denver continue like that, or will Dallas? So yeah, great point.
Yeah, that's a fucking excellent point because I guarantee you, we have a better chance of Dallas starting to score 30 points again than seeing fucking Denver hold teams badass offenses to basically 0 points because them 16 points was kind of garbage time. They're basically shutting the fucking offense out. Like, I mean, fuck, they haven't did it all year. They've been solid all year. Denver's defense has been solid, giving up points and shit, but they haven't played a game like they did.
It was their Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, it was badass. Speaking of that, one more thing we'll talk about that's been a big subject about the fans in Dallas Cowboys Stadium again in AT&T Stadium. Y'all got a thought on that? Because I got a lot of thoughts on that. But
I heard a lot about it. I didn't watch the game because I was on the road. But yeah, I heard a lot about it, and I'd love to hear your opinion because in my memory before you start, I've always remembered Cowboy fans being kind of not crazy loud. It always seems to have been the case.
This is my opinion. It's
exactly.
Dallas is a transit city. Houston, Texas is a transit city. LA is a transit city. That's why you would never see them top Arizona, where they play. That whole state is a transit state. That's why none of them teams will ever have just a hardcore fan base like at home, because you're always going to have a bunch of people living in that city from other cities, and they're going to show up for the games.
Right.
The reason why you see Kansas City, Green Bay, Cleveland, Philadelphia,
Pittsburgh.
The reason Pittsburgh. The reason you see all them fans and you don't hardly ever see opposing fans in them stadium because nobody's fucking moving in them cities. Nobody's saying, you know what? I think I want to fucking move to Green Bay next year.
That's a great point.
Nobody wants to live there. Who wants to fucking move to Cleveland? And anybody from them states, I'm not knocking them. I'm just saying job-wise, and I'm not talking about overall living. But here in Texas, we got fucking no fucking state tax. The cost of living here is cheap as fuck. You know, I don't know how you realize what y'all know about the athletes. We have a shitload of athletes that live in Dallas, in Houston, that does not play for them teams, that plays for a New York team or a fucking Green Bay team. They come here to live, you know, because it's
those reasons.
The weather, the cost of living, the no state tax, you know, and shit like that.
Right.
But it's like Miami. Miami is another transit city. You know, that's why they're never going to have that hardcore fan base. You're always going to have opposing fans because you have so many people in that city living that's not from that state or from that city. You know, and that's just how it is. You know, like I said, Cleveland, Green Bay, them fucking towns, nobody are wanting to move to them. Nobody's like, hey, man, I want to move to Pittsburgh next year. There's nothing in fucking Pittsburgh for anybody to move to.
Charley doesn't want to be a still town girl.
You know, but that's how that's and it's always been that. I've been making that argument for fucking 20 years. You know, because at Texas Stadium, there would always be a lot of opposing fans at that stadium too. And I'm like, you know, that's just kind of normal. You know, and I told Rika, like the Philadelphia game we went to, there wasn't a lot of Philadelphia Eagles fans there, which I was a little surprised. But this is the thing. That was the third game of the year. That was the first home game. So a lot of Cowboys wasn't willing to sell their tickets. They wanted to be at that game. Who wanted to go to Denver game? When I was picking out games I would want to go to this year, I didn't even fucking think about
another great point. Yeah.
A lot of the season ticket holders like, all right, that's the game I'm not going to. So I'll sell my tickets and it ended up getting sold to Denver fans. You know,
well, sure.
Rock up, you buy tickets. Rock's tickets to the Washington Redskins game were cheaper than the ones in a better seat than the ones that she bought for Philadelphia because that was a more of a we got to go to that game. Monday Night Football, first home game of the year. You know, it's so we kind of outnumbered the Eagle fans. You know, but I went to an Eagles game in 2003 in Tech Stadium, and it was fucking full of Eagle fans. Fucking, we wasn't that good. We ended up being good that year. We went to the playoffs, but at that point, you know, we had been 5-11 3 straight years. So there was a shitload of Eagle fans in that stadium because season ticket holders were selling their tickets and Eagle fans was buying them up.
Yeah, who was the quarterback then?
Quincy Carter.
I'll be damned.
Quincy Carter. Yeah, that was a game. That Eagles game is where they onside kicked the first game of the fucking first play of the game.
Yes.
And fucking ran it back into my end zone because I had season tickets that year. I bought season tickets when we hired Bert. It was that fast guy. He ran like a 4.22
backup receiver,
number 89, I think he was. I can't remember. Everybody loved him. He was my pet cat, and always thought we should have played him more. But I can't remember who his. I
can't remember his name. Someone will bring it.
Randall. Was it Randall? Was it something Randall or Randall something?
Maybe Randall something.
Where's fucking numbnuts at? Fucking Mendoza. I didn't mean to call you numbnuts, dude. That's.
Man, I told him
yesterday. I meant to call you that, but that's not a
we're trying to get viewers and subs. Yesterday, Charley drops his video calling all the fans a bunch of dipshits. Today, he calls Mendoza a numbnuts. He's like one of the 5 people that watch me.
Well, Mendoza knows me. Knows I don't mean nothing personal about.
I know he does.
Other fans, hey, man, don't be a dipshit. I won't call you that. I mean, don't.
I remember that on Psycho. Yeah.
Randall Williams. There you go. DJ Dog. Randall Williams. I knew it was Randall. Yeah. I knew it was Randall something. I can't remember if that was his last name or his first name. But yeah, that was right in my end zone, dude. I didn't even know what the fuck had happened. They kicked the ball off, and I'm looking in the air for the ball, and I hear the stadium, and I'm like, the hell's he running towards us for? I'm like, holy shit, we just scored a touchdown. It was great.
We scooped it up on the bounce, man.
Yeah, we won that game, dude. Quick story before we go. There was an Eagle fan, probably in his mid-20s, drunk as shit. It was 2 of them, actually. They wasn't in our area, but they had walked down because I was second row from the bottom. And they was yelling and screaming. And there was an old man, probably, I say he's old. He probably was high 50s, low 60s back then. He had a wife with him. And that Eagle fan just was dropping F-bombs every other word. And that old man's like, hey, man, you need to watch your mouth. You know, my wife's right here. And that fucking Eagle fan told him, fuck you old motherfucker. And without a hesitation, that old man dude slapped that dude, like palmed, and knocked him out. That dude was all like, his legs was all wobbly, and his friend had to grab him. And I'm like, dude, that motherfucker just got slapped.
Wow.
And like right in his jaw, he just slapped him. and then security went and grabbed him and kicked him out. But yeah, that was a pretty cool story. Me and my dad was laughing.
Love it.
Yeah, my son was there. My son wasn't even 2 years old yet. And when that fight broke out, and I told my dad, I said, I won't never take him to another Eagles game because I can't have that. And so I didn't until this year. He was 19 and he can whoop my ass. So I figured, hey, fuck it, dude.
Yeah.
If daddy gets some shit, you can whoop somebody's ass for me. So yeah. So I took
my
him this
bodyguard
game.
right here.
Yeah, that's why I told him, I said, you're 19, you can take care of yourself so you can go. Because he wanted to go to the Arizona game. But I told him, I said, dude, that's December. They might suck. You know, we might get hurt and suck, you know, or hell, we might be benching everybody because we might have everything wrapped up. You know, I said, I don't know how that game's going to go. I said, you want to go to the Eagles game? He goes, well, I thought you said I couldn't go. I'm like, fuck, dude, you're 19 years old. You bench press over 300 pounds, a squat over 500 pounds. I'm pretty confident that you can fucking take care of yourself, you know? So we went to that game.
Awesome.
All right, guys, we're at an hour and 20 minutes. I think this is the longest show I've ever done, but it's been so much fun. Thank you for coming on. Before you go, tell everybody where they can find you at.
Ed Netty Silver and Blue on YouTube. You just search for that and it should pop up one of the videos. We're also on Twitter and Facebook, but they all head back to the YouTube channel. Short videos, lots of humor.
It's good stuff, man. Please subscribe.
Absolutely. These guys are great. Charley, you want to tell everybody where they can find you? They're, you know, I don't know why they would, but go ahead and tell them anyway.
Yeah, DJ Dog. I saw you subscribe the other day. Thanks, buddy. Yeah, Dallas Cowboys Uncensored. Just type it in Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube. That's where you'll find me.
All right, guys, and I am on Twitter at Chains Moving. You can find me on Facebook, Rika Moves the Chains. Don't forget about the giveaway. All you got to do is share this video or any video from the Dallas Cowboys Uncensored channel. Share it to social media. Tag me. When I see that tag, I will add you to the list. And on November 30th, we'll pick 2 lucky winners to receive a free t-shirt from twistedgorilla.com. And this giveaway is sponsored by our guide to Lunatic. Thank you so much for being in the chat. Stephen White, DJ Dog, Mendoza, Pat, everyone, thank you for coming in. And we'll be back here on Saturday night for Keeping Up with the Joneses at 8 p.m. Central Time. Anything else, guys?
Y'all busy Saturday night?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Well, if y'all open, come back.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, let me know. Yeah, just holler at me and I'll shoot you a link.
We'll do a little fucking. We'll have more news by then about Tyron Smith, so we'll have more to decide what we're going to do there and shit.
6 minute Saturday.
6 minutes Saturday.
Yeah, six minutes Saturday. Yeah.
6 minutes Saturday. All right, guys. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a good night.
Good night, guys.
Later, dudes.